On this episode of TLC Connections, Alyssa Brouse sits down with Erin Bell, an intervention counselor at Springford Area High School, for a conversation about the relationships at the heart of effective school-based counseling. Erin shares how authenticity, consistency, and giving students a voice help him build trust, particularly with students who may initially be resistant to counseling. Together, Erin and Alyssa discuss anxiety, school avoidance, supporting students with IEPs, and why sometimes simply being a trusted adult who consistently shows up can make a meaningful difference. We hope you enjoy the episode.
Welcome to TLC Connections. Erin, thank you so much for being here.
No problem.
So, Erin, so you are one of our amazing school-based counselors. I'm really excited to talk to you today just about some of the work that you do and some of the wonderful things that make you such a great counselor in one of our partner districts. So let's jump right in. Just talk a little bit about your role, and you can even go into some of your history with TLC because you've been with us for a long time.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been in every level of school, which I think is fun.
Yeah.
You know, I know from like grade 2 all the way through high school, and it's all different, but it's all the same. Right?
Yeah.
There's the levels of development that people are at, but I deal with so many of the same issues, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Springfield, where I'm at now, yeah, I love it. High school, the big change was going fully basically special education, which was something I hadn't really done before. Like I had a mix through most of my career, but this time it's essentially that. Just the odd regular education student, but I love it.
So yeah, as a school-based counselor in the high school, I totally agree. I feel like there are benefits to working with every age. So I always loved working in the elementary and doing sort of the prevention work, and young kiddos I feel like are such sponges. As you go into the older ages, I feel like you can do some more of that deeper processing, deeper understanding of the world, and start to pull out some of those clinical interventions. And so when you work with high school students, whether they have IEPs or whether they don't, what does that look like for you? What's sort of some of the stuff you like to do with them? How do you build relationships?
But it's connections, isn't it? And it can be difficult in the beginning, especially in a high school when they don't know you like at all.
Yeah.
But I don't have a problem talking to people usually.
Yeah.
I have my room set up in a way that it's not as bright as this because I can't deal with that. I like it to be relaxed, so it's pretty chill in there.
Yeah.
Sometimes it looks dark when the door's closed, so I might have to add a little bit more light, but it's relaxed. So when they come in, they're always like, "Oh, this is nice." Except for my one student who's on the spectrum, and as soon as he comes in, he's like turns the lights on because he has to have it bright. But I know that, so I'm ready for it.
That's awesome.
So yeah, building the connections, it usually doesn't take too long. It depends on if they're sort of forced into it or if they feel like there's a benefit to what's happening. And most of the time they do.
I think in any kind of mental health or counseling treatment where someone is, maybe not mandated isn't the right term, but in the school sometimes they are sort of told this is a support that is going to be part of your day-to-day at school. And so how do we get that buy-in, especially with adolescents who are naturally resistant when an adult tells them this is what you must do? So how do we break through and make those connections when folks are in that situation and it feels mandated?
Well, one of my students at Springford, she's finished now and has a job at a couple of places. The program worked well for her. When I first met her, she wanted nothing to do with me. And it was more so because the last counselor that she had left, and it was all changed. But it was also like I don't want to come here every week. Like I don't need to do this. And I'm like, okay, so let's work that out.
Yeah.
And to have someone advocate for themselves is good. And eventually, it got to a point where they would talk with their parents, and it would come back, and we talked about, well, we could just leave it written in as an as needed. So then they can come see me when they need to. I could check in once in a while, but that seemed to work perfectly for them. But it takes time. Like in the beginning, I'm not coming. I'm like, well, you need to.
Wow. That is awesome. Like that is actually amazing that you saw this child that some folks might label as maybe resistant or, defiant, maybe not wanting to comply with the counseling, but you were like, hey, this kid is trying to self-advocate. And I think that's a beautiful reframe to that benefits both people, right? It benefits you and like your experience trying to support the student. And it also benefits them for someone to see, hey, like I can see through this like resistance and see more the self-advocacy. It's actually a strength. It's something that we can build on. And I can join with you through this rather than fight against it.
Right. I mean, I think that's what all counseling and therapy is for, right? It's to reach that point. Like you want people to self-advocate.
Yeah.
People that come see me, you know, in my other therapy job, they're advocating for themselves in the beginning.
Right.
Right. And then we're working through to help them get to achieve the goal or get to whatever point they want to get to. And with the students, it's the same thing. Like I want them to be able to take control of what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. That empowerment is so important. I love that.
Especially at that age.
Yeah. Yeah. Something that when I think of you, and you've been highly liked by the district you work in. I get lots of positive feedback about you and your work there. And something that I gather from the feedback I get about you is that you're very authentic, and you're not someone who's like there to just go into your office and then go home. Like you're part of the school community. You are going into the halls and you're showing up as your true self. So talk to me about authenticity in your work and how you bring that to your work day and how that helps you connect with the kids.
It's just being me. I don't understand the people that do. I mean, if you're in a job like this and you talk to people and you connect with people, why are you going to come in and hide in your room all day and then go home?
Yeah.
Are you in the wrong job, mate?
Yeah.
Like, I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I just enjoy people in general, like connecting with people. I mean, there's, hundreds of kids that know who I am will never come see me, but it doesn't matter because we've had a connection. And sometimes in the morning, we'll have a quick chat as they walk by. I mean, I think that's okay.
Yeah.
But it's being there, it's being visible too, because those kids that do see you, then they don't think of you as this hermit that's in a room that they have to go see.
Right.
They're like, oh, this person's out and about.
Yeah.
So then they're obviously okay.
Yeah.
I just be me, and then people see, oh, look, he's dressed goofy or whatever. Like I have a weird sense of style, I guess, but they like it. And I'll make mistakes in front of people and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's okay.
Yeah. That humility, I think, is so important. And especially around kids, I feel like they just see through any sort of kind of masking or bringing that authentic self to work. I think when you're working with kids is especially important.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm going to ask kind of an interesting question here that's a little tangential, but in counseling, social work, it's definitely like a female-dominated profession. So how has that impacted you, like working alongside a lot of females, or maybe being in a role where people would have expected like a female in that role? Has that showed up or like impacted you at all in any way or not?
I've never thought about it.
Oh, okay.
I guess I knew sort of going into it when I went through school for counseling and that I was, you're cognizant like, oh yeah, I'm like, there's me or there's like two guys here and that's it.
Yeah.
But then I thought, well, that's going to be good when it comes to jobs.
Yeah.
Right?
You're right.
I mean, boys need counseling too. And, and it's not that I see only boys. No, I don't. I see a mix. It's fine. But there are certain, sometimes you have girls that will only see a female counselor, and that's fine. So we work that out.
Yeah.
Like I'll ask those questions up front when I meet a student the first time.
Yeah.
I never really paid attention to it other than at school. Like I would notice, I guess this is a female dominated field, but at the same time, so is teaching, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, so many things, right? Are there's a gender sort of, majority gender in a lot of different career fields. I was just curious.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's like, it was so like me and my wife have the opposite. Like I work in a female dominated field and she's an electrician. So she works in a male dominated field. So
wow.
I guess.
Yeah.
That's how it works out.
That's a fun dynamic. But yeah, like as you talk about that and some of the other things you mentioned, I just think of this really wonderful display that you're giving of how you help students feel safe and comfortable, starting all the way from I don't even want to say starting from your office, starting from the hallway, because you're making sure you're present, you're making sure you're visible, you're not hiding, you are, pleasant to interact with, you have goofy, outfits. That maybe some goofy is subjective, but, kind of trying to be yourself and just being in the community. And then as soon as they come into your office, you have this comfortable environment, you dim the lights, you if someone's not comfortable with that, you accommodate that, and then you truly let them be who they are, because you may see a child who is giving some pushback and you say, hey, this child's self-advocating. So I just wanted to note that that's a really cool sort of trajectory of really creating this space for these students to be who they are and to feel comfortable and safe.
Well, that's how you get the best work done, right? Once
Totally.
they trust you, or then the buy-in is there, then you can approach the hard stuff. And work it. I mean, I love it in the morning when they come in and they're like, "Did I see you today?" And they remember that. Like I don't have to call my students down. They know the time of the day when they come.
That's great.
And so
So I think there's something really unique about working in schools as a counselor. I've done schools, I've done hospitals, I've done outpatient therapy. I've done a lot of different stuff in my social work career. I think working in schools is a really unique environment because you're in this space where kids are there every day. And you are maybe working with a couple other counselors, but the majority of folks are educators and they have a very different relationship with students than we have as counselors. So my question to you is just like, what do you think about that? Like, what do you think about being in a school and doing counseling with kids who are there every day, who you might see at a Special Olympics event or like something like that? Like how does that affect you for, positive, negative, neutral, whatever, your thoughts?
I mean, there's a lot there. I think the majority of the staff understand what we're doing. So there's not too much pushback. There's some students like everywhere will take advantage and they'll be like, can I go see Mr. Bell? Can I go see Mr.
Yeah, like
Bell?
every period. Yeah.
And some teachers are okay with it. And 9 times out of 10, I'm like, it's written in the IEP, so I don't want to be that guy. But if they ask, you kind of have to find out if I'm available. But I also know my students pretty well, so then I'm like, no, they can stay. But so, I mean, seeing the kids out and about, I go to the Special Olympics, things like that, seeing them in the hallway. I think there's teachers like that. I have that relationship with them. I think they like that. And they know they can call me up if something's happening, or they're like, so-and-so doesn't seem to be having a very good day. Do you want to check in? I mean, I think the connections is key to a lot of it, right? If the staff don't know who I am, what's he doing? So it's not a surprise if I call a room now. They know, like, my name comes up on the phone, but they know who it is. So it's not, who's this guy? Maybe in the beginning it was like that and I have to explain that. Right. But I think now we've made those connections. So the staff buy-in is pretty good.
That's great.
Yeah.
In your role, you're supporting the students. That's your primary responsibility. So then we think about, there's teachers, and in some ways you're, in some direct ways, you're helping educators with their work, and maybe in some direct ways as well. How would you say that your role in the school really impacts teachers in a helpful way?
I think if you don't talk to the teachers or you don't talk to the case managers, then you're not serving the student anyway. Right? So there's that. But then they get stressed out about the kids that you're working with.
Right.
So then it makes sense to sort of, help them out. But then they want to tell you about their life. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
I say to everyone, and now I have teachers that say it back to me, that they say it's going to be okay. Because I'll say that all the time and they like, stop it. But then they get it. We have things. Everyone has their stuff. I have my stuff. You have your stuff. Right? The people behind the wall, they have their stuff. But we can get through it, right? We talk to people. And so I think teachers they need to know that they have that support, because I think it's a high stress profession now. And depending on the administration that you have, people, they get nervous about making mistakes or doing something wrong for a student. And I think it's okay to make mistakes. Right? It's not, you didn't do it on purpose. Right? We're trying to teach these kids, we're trying to educate them so they can have the best life possible. And so, if you need to vent to me about something, I'm fine with that.
I love that. That's great. So you're holding some space for them individually, like directly supporting them that way. And then you're also supporting kiddos that are in their rooms. So, a child who might have some emotional stuff going on and that's leading to undesirable behaviors, you're helping them work on that, right? And so that indirectly supports the teachers, which is nice. I know that with teachers, we're seeing sort of increasing levels of burnout, less teachers entering the workforce. Do you feel like you find yourself supporting teachers with their like mental wellness sometimes?
Yeah, unofficially.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about how your presence and your like being such a connector in the buildings must help them feel comfortable too. And how, here's a person I can talk to or connect to here and there.
Oh yeah, teachers like to tell me all sorts.
Yeah. And so there's a cool thing we're actually doing in Springford this year. I'll actually take this opportunity to give a quick plug on it. But we will have one of our staff who is at the schools dedicated to supporting the teachers' well-being. So, there's probably going to be some short wellness workshop type things, maybe some yoga, maybe opportunities for individual sort of like coaching, mentoring, sort of holding space, because teachers are, they have a really tough job taking in so much from classrooms of students all day, every day.
Yeah.
And they don't have a lot of space to, share how they're feeling, share what's on their mind with folks. So this other agencies have done this in other states, and I learned about it and just thought it was such an exciting way to help both the staff and the students, because what I've seen from other folks who do this in schools is that when we support our teachers, students have better outcomes. So I'm super excited to do that in the school this year.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like that. Yeah.
But to go back to your work with kids, I want to go back to another thing that you brought up that I think is interesting, because most of my work with students when I worked in schools was not with the special education population. It's mostly gen ed, although, there was a little bit of special ed that came in there. But I'm curious for you. You mentioned that primarily your students have IEPs and that was something new for you. So how did that differ? How has that made your work different than when you worked with more gen ed population previously?
I think I guess the more structured nature of like some of the kids are in like one room all day.
Sure.
Yeah. So I've had IEP kids all the way through my career, but this is where they essentially all are. And so it was, and I understand why, I think the teachers all buy into what's going on, right? So that's not a problem. They know. Some of the regular ed classrooms, because the students do go into them if they need help with certain classes, but they can be in the other mainstream ones. And the goal is to try and push them through to all of those, right? For some of the students.
Yeah.
So I think it's more the scheduled nature of everything. I have to build a schedule around where the students are, because there are some classes or some things I can't take them out. And then when they have like OT or they have speech and they have things. So I have to look for all these things when I build my schedule at the start of the year. With the gen ed stuff, it's not like that. I can grab them pretty much anytime.
Yeah.
Giving them the coping skills or working with them through things like that, role playing, reflective feedback, things like that, like trying to get them to see that it's not the end of the world and tomorrow will be okay.
Yeah.
Those kind of things. It seems maybe more intense, but I don't know.
Yeah. The work you're doing with the kids, what are the needs that you're seeing the most with students coming to you, and how are you addressing that? Like if it's social anxiety, how do you work with them on that? But what are the specific needs and how do you help them with it?
Well, anxiety is a good one, because that's mainstream.
Yeah.
They all have it.
Yeah.
So we do, I do a lot of relaxation things. Nice. A lot of I do role playing to sort of show kids like how it is to be okay, like to encourage them to be themselves.
Yeah.
So, and we play quite a lot of games to bring like that relaxation in, and then we'll talk about like family dynamics, or like school refusal is quite a big one with some of the kids. Yeah. They just don't come to school. And when they do, everybody wants to grab them, right? And so I'm one of those people,
right?
Because I need to see them. So it's working through the whole like mindset of, I know you don't want to be here, but these are the benefits, right? And talking about, I know, yes, difficult at home and all that, but isn't it better to be here than to be at home and then deal with that again and again? And it's a lot of confidence building. The relaxation stuff it's funny teaching kids how to breathe when they don't know how to breathe. And that's how I frame it. I'm like, do you know how to breathe? And they look at me like, I'm breathing right now. And then a lot of just reflecting on what they say and kind of giving feedback and options on like, this is who you are, so be that person.
Yeah, so looking at some of the narratives that they're giving you and addressing, like, do you see how this is impacting how you're showing up in school,
right.
or maybe impacting how you're not showing up at school, right?
Yeah.
We see, I have a lot of district partners who come to us saying, there's a lot of avoidance, school avoidance, and a lot of it is anxiety related. And especially ever since COVID, I think when folks were able to be home for a while, and it was during a very crucial time developmentally for many of our youth.
Yeah.
This sort of school anxiety avoidance cycle kind of began. And so kids get anxious about going, and then they stay home, and then it just builds the anxiety, right?
It's easy once you don't go in for like a week to be like, oh, it doesn't matter now.
Exactly.
And then when you finally get them in, trying to like make it easy.
Right.
So it's like, well, let's we were working with a student this year who health wasn't too good, but we put a lot of things in place. And their first 2 periods were like study hall, so it didn't matter if they were late as long as they got in. At some point, then they would be able to do the classes they needed to graduate.
Yeah.
And they would be so late, like every day. And I'm working with this lad, and I'm like, give me something. Like, tell me, like, what is it that you can't understand your physical, ailments that you have and the tiredness, but what's actually stopping you from coming in? And eventually we got to what it was.
Yeah.
And then the lad would come in and he would still spend a lot of time with the nurse. Yeah. When you can get the buy-in and you get them to come, then it's okay. And it was one of those where we still weren't sure they were going to make it and graduate, but they managed to. So
yeah, that's
it's
great.
a win.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome that you're able to work with them on that avoidance and getting them through that. I feel like once you can build that confidence and that comfort, or at least, it doesn't even really have to be comfort. That's the wrong word. I guess distress tolerance with being in school or being in a situation that maybe isn't, the most favorable,
right.
The most desirable experience. It can.
There's a certain class they don't want to go to.
Yeah.
So then you make them go to it. It's that, and I'm like, and they don't like you, and I'm like, yeah, but this is why, because you get so comfortable. We talked like if you don't get up and you don't go to school, then you become comfortable with that.
Exactly.
So when you go to a class you don't like, eventually you become comfortable with it.
Yeah.
It's like exposure therapy, right?
Yeah.
It's like, just do it.
Yeah.
And then eventually it's not as bad.
Right. Yeah. Like having that safe space with a counselor to build that distress tolerance, to be able to be in a distressing situation and to know that you're going to be okay. You have someone you can talk to process about it and who's already building you up before you go into it, I think can be so powerful. So that's awesome. It's nice though, because it's a restorative model, right? Instead of going through a disciplinary action that may not help them learn anything or develop coping skills, you're that person that is going to allow for restoration and repair through a situation where maybe there was some discipline or maybe there was it's just a tough moment, right? I know that how those things can look. So it's beautiful to be able to bring in that restoration.
You know what really is hard, and it came to mind. It's when they just want to be normal, and that it kills me sometimes because I can't. Like I have a student that so badly wants to be like great at sports, but they're like in the Ram Buddies, the Special Olympics, and they want it, and I'm like, yes, you should be happy that's what you do, and then you can push and you can join other clubs and see what happens. So they have put themselves out there and join, like they love books, so they go to the book club and they enjoy that, but they struggle so much with the whole normal thing. And I try and tell them, I don't think anyone's normal.
That's so interesting because I always think about adolescence as going through this, this period, this developmental stage of individuation where they're trying to, like, the most important thing for them developmentally at that age is figuring out who they are separate from their family of origin. And a lot of that is like blending in with their peers, maybe not wanting to be friends with certain types of people, wanting to be friends with other types of people, and going through all of that with all those different peer groups and sports and things like that are such a huge part of it. So wanting to feel that normalcy that we know isn't really a thing, but as adults, but that kids feel like, I want to be like all these other kids. Like I need this. It's like such a visceral developmental need. And I mean, that must be a challenge to try to like help them see that from like an adult's perspective. It's like, dude, that normal means nothing, but it means so much to them.
Yeah. And one of my kids, and she struggled with the whole IEP thing. She's like, I don't know. I hate that I have this. I hate that. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to call you down every time. I'm going to keep checking in with you. And it got to a point they went to the parents and said, I don't want this anymore. And I'm okay with that. Like, I'm not going to drag anyone around. Like, you must come and see me.
Right.
But we had a good connection. We did some good work. So they got it sort of removed. And then so halfway through the year, she showed up at my office and she's like, can I talk to you? And I was like, sure. I'm not going to be like, no, you're not mine anymore. And she, she sat down and told me what was going on, and we went through it. And then she was like, so how do I get you back? And I said, well, I don't think we need to go down the whole road of like putting everything in and it's like once a cycle and all that. I said, let me talk to your case manager and we'll see if we can just have it written in as like as needed. That way you're happy and then, everyone's happy, so to speak. And she's like, okay, I'm going to see my case manager next class, so I'll tell her. I'm like, okay then.
That's so great.
But it worked out. And then she came maybe twice during the year, but I was like, okay, so there's a connection that was like, that's what it's for, right?
Absolutely. That is so important. I have so many of our counselors who will come to me and they'll be like, I just don't feel like I'm doing enough. I'm not making any big clinical breakthroughs. I haven't been able to use any of these interventions or anything like that. And I'm like, are you meeting with them? Are they like talking to you? Are you feeling connection? And I'm like, even if you're just showing up and they're seeing that you're there consistently, that you are like rooting for them, like you are planting seeds, and they might even just reject your sessions every day, but they'll be the same kid because that is not the first time I've heard that story. That will come back later and say, hey, I know this is a safe space. And now that I'm going through this thing and I have this thing that I want to work on, here's this person who's here to support me through it. And that's just like why we do the work, right?
Yeah. I had that with the other counselors at Springfield. They were coming to me like, I don't know what I'm doing with this kid.
Yeah.
And like I said, I get it.
Yeah.
So they will.
Yeah.
They'll definitely come when they need to. I said, it might feel like you're pulling teeth for a little while. I said, and you can always, ease off a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I do. I think that's great when you can, I mean, in some situations there might be, like we've talked about with IEPs, there might be specific amounts of time you're supposed to see them. But I like how you've talked about, they don't have to, and being able to give them some agency in their counseling situation where it's like, okay, you don't want to meet with me, or you don't want to talk about this thing, or you don't want to, you don't want to use this type of intervention, worksheet or art material or whatever, like giving them that agency as much as you can, it helps so much with that connection and that trust. Awesome. Well, Aaron, are there any final things, any final thoughts that you'd love to just like put on top of this episode today?
I like that you said authenticity. I mean, if you can't be yourself, then, life's going to be difficult for you. Yeah. Right?
I agree. Yeah.
And so, be yourself, make mistakes, do silly things, do whatever, but talk to people when you need to. I mean, that's right.
I love it.
That's the way to be.
Yeah. Thanks so much for being here today, Aaron.
No problem. I'm sweating.
TLC Connections is supported in part by the Lincoln Center for Family and Youth. Through education, counseling, coaching, and consulting, we empower people to make positive choices, meaningful connections, and transformational change. To learn more, visit thelincolncenter.com.